Why most people can't explain their ideas clearly. The problem isn't intelligence, it is unstructured thinking. If your thoughts are messy, your explanation will be messy. So sometimes intelligence works against you. You make ideas so complex and unstructured that you miss out the most important and basic and fundamental truth. The next thing is most people think while speaking, which you should not do. You should think first and then speak. Clear communicators think first and speak later. And that is where preparation comes in as well. So you structure and lay out your thoughts and then you convey them. If you try to speak, if you try to think while you speak, of course, there is an element of spontaneity, and sometimes you come up, some thoughts and ideas come from beyond while speaking, but that does not negate the necessity of preparation and thinking before you speak or preparing before you speak. Now, again, people also confuse complexity with intelligence, using high five words, big words, which may be sometimes important and it may have nuances of its own. But if the idea can be communicated in simple terms, with clarity and in short, then making it complicated and complex shows you don't have intelligence, because if you can't explain it simply, you probably don't understand it deeply. So, depth and simplicity are correlated. If you understand a concept well enough, you will be able to explain it clearly. Then, ideas feel clear in your head but collapse when spoken. That's because your brain stores ideas as fragments, not sentences. So while you're brainstorming, you may just jot down the key words or the key phrases. But when you try to speak and communicate, maybe that is verbal or written, you communicate in sentences. And when you try to form a sentence from pieces and bits of informations and ideas, that is when it may happen that your ideas collapse. So both the things are important. When you're brainstorming, you just write out the keywords and phrases, but then you also take time and form sentences which are punchy and powerful and impactful. Now, most people also skip the structure. Every clear explanation needs three parts: problem, insight, and example. When you follow the structure, even there is a reception ready in audiences' minds and hearts, which they are able to grasp and receive information. So when you clearly lay out the structure before you begin to speak, that in this talk we will be talking about the problem, inside an example, even the audience is ready to perceive and receive your piece of wisdom and information. So structure is important. Structure basically makes your work easier in terms of explanation, and also it makes it easier for the audience to understand what you are trying to say. Now, people try to sound smart instead of trying to be clear. Now, I don't know where this notion comes from, but simplicity is the real sign of intelligence. If you are able to convey it simply, that shows that you have understood it well enough. And if you're trying to smart sound, if you're trying to impress people, if you're trying to make impression, the first thing is you will not make impression, so you will lose there. And along with that, you will also lack clarity. You will lose the time, opportunity, energy, people, everything. So there is a complete loss in trying to be smart and trying to sound intelligent. But clarity is what people in every society needs. Now, the next thing is people overload the listeners when they communicate too many ideas. Powerful communicators focus on one core idea at a time. So you may be excited, you may have a lot of wisdom, but you have to understand that people are not receptive of those things. one idea conveyed deeply, powerfully, with multiple angles and multiple evidences and things to substantiate that, it is more powerful than trying to pack everything in one talk or one video. One basic idea, one core idea, it's enough. It is peaceful for you to communicate, and it also gives satisfaction to the listeners because they go with one big takeaway. Now, powerful communicators, uh, the mistake that they avoid is that they do not assume others know the context. Clear thinkers always start from the basics. You have to set the context, you have to set the of course the context. As it is said, the context is more important than the text. So start from the basics, start from the ground up, and think in terms of first principles, and you will be able to communicate clearly and powerfully. The ninth thing is ideas improve only after they are written or spoken repeatedly. Clarity comes from iteration, not inspiration. So maybe you have got one core idea as a communicator, as an author, as a writer. Your one message with thousand different expressions is more powerful than having thousand messages and only having one way to express them. So it may sound counterintuitive that how is that one idea is more powerful than thousand ideas, but you're having thousand ways to express. You have got depth, you have got authenticity, you have got expertise in that one idea. And when you do it repeatedly, you also improve your understanding, and you also improve the way it is communicated to people. And the real reason people can't explain ideas clearly is they never organize their thinking before speaking. So thinking and ideas and inspiration, all these things are abstract. They are intangible. When you give it a structure, a framework, and you give it a graphic organ, when you organize them, it not only makes your work easier and sustainable and peaceful, but you're also able to communicate with your audience in a more powerful and impactful way. So if you want how to communicate better and write better, and if you want an AI coach, I have got a prompt. Let me know in this comment section below, and I type prompt and I will send it to you. Thank you.